What up, guys? Another Adonis review. Today I'm going to do a VR game. I've been trying to smash through a lot of VR games on the hopes that PSVR 2 will come out. And apparently when that comes out, it's, completely remapping the way VR is done. To be more like the Oculus, where you don't have to have fucking 1,000 things attached to fucking use it, because they're gonna put cameras on like the outside of the fucking VR headset, so you don't have to have like the PlayStation camera anymore. It's about time. Still gonna have a cord, which I guess makes sense because that's to connect to the fucking place where you have a disc and your games. But yeah, essentially all VR games will be obsolete that you have until you get the
just relaxing.
Once you get the PSVR 2. So if you want to, play these VR games, you want to play them now. You might wait for the PSVR 2 to be cheaper because it's supposed to come out with a huge price tag. And, in the past, when consoles got cheaper in the future, now they're getting more expensive as time goes on. That's the fucking world we live in now, man. Inflation, shit. Like, doggy fuck me in the fucking tits, man. It's fucking insane. So, I'm smashing through VR games. In the past, VR games were they're tough in general to get through because I'm a person who does get motion sick, so I can only play it for so long. But I've been trying to get better at it, and one of the games I got better at and finally fully cut through was Arizona Sunshine. And what can I say? It's actually a pretty good game. Now, I plan to release sometime in the near future my review of Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, I think is what it's called. And if you've played that game for some reason first and haven't played this, you'll see that game has a much more well-developed gameplay. Like, that game was made for VR and they did a great job making it. So if you played that and go to this, well, this will seem like it doesn't have the nuts and bolts. But for a VR game, I feel like this covers kind of all the basics that you want. You can see, and if you ever base a VR game, it's a good thing to really take note of. If you ever base a VR game off the gameplay, like the gameplay you're watching right now, you just shouldn't, because it's really hard for you to quantify what a game looks like in VR compared to when you're looking at it now. Because honestly, like a game that's PS3 graphics in VR is like top quality VR. There's only a few games that really surpass that, with modern day graphics. And for those games, like, thank you, it's beautiful. Resident Evil 7 is kind of one of them. Half-Life Alyx would be like another. Those ones go above and beyond. And though I don't think it's tough to do, that's just not what you get. But fortunately, you could have a PS2 level of graphics for VR, and it's pretty sick, irregardless, because you're in that VR world, and it's just cool seeing that. So even so, the game doesn't look like much, especially if you look at it, on the screen now. It actually is pretty cool when you're actually looking at it. This actually is, decent graphics for what you should expect in VR, and that's good enough. Again, it isn't great in reality, but when you're in the actual VR world and you're playing around with it, it's good enough. It looks pretty cool. And with that being said, the gameplay mechanics are pretty nice. The way that you hold guns and your weapons and you reload and you search cars for weapons, and essentially, to quickly go through the plot, you're just a guy basically wandering through the Arizona desert trying to find, a group of survivors, and you just have to murder your wave of zombies to slowly get there. And hopefully by the end you meet people and get saved. And that's basically the whole game, is you just kind of wander around finding ammo and weapons and slowly getting the sanctuary. And, eventually as you get through, you get better weapons, like different versions of machine guns and shotguns and, bigger machine guns and grenades, and you fight different waves, and it gets harder and easier depending on where you're at. All in all, it was a pretty good time. I did enjoy it. I think one of the biggest things with VR games, I try to find VR games that have a good chunk of meat in them, that are like, 10 hours like Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is, but honestly, playing a 10-hour VR game is pretty fucking foreboding. That seems like a lot. It seems like a little when you play a normal game, but for VR, I kind of like, 5 hours. I say it's kind of like a perfect medium. It gives you a little bit more than what you might want if you like a game, but not too much to where you're like, fuck, like I just want it to be over. Like I've enjoyed the game. Like, I'll do one for, I think, Blood and Truth sometime soon as well, because that was another good one. That was the perfect timing and gave you exactly what you kind of wanted. But, end all be all, guys, this game is good. If you want a VR game that's enjoyable and fun and gets to the point and doesn't outstay its welcome,
Let's check it out.
this is it. You wander around, it has good gunplay, good mechanics. You feel pretty badass because you can dual wield and shit like that. And it's just enough stuff to kind of really enjoy it. So, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's worth playing. I think, if you're looking for VR games to play, and you haven't thought of you've been thinking about maybe Arizona Sunshine, because Arizona Sunshine is a game that you'll see at like Dave & Buster type places. That's where I first saw it, as a VR game you can play, and you'll pay fucking $100 to play 5 minutes of it. It's a game you can play for cheap nowadays. I like this so much, I even bought the DLC. They do have 2 DLCs that you can get that add, an extra 2 hours or so to the game, so you can enjoy it a little bit more. It's just a nice little fun experience. And as I say before, PlayStation itself has deals all the time. Every 2 weeks they have different bargains on different games. And you can usually always find a deal on this. I think I got the game for $10, at most $15, and that's completely fair. $15 for 5 hours, and I think the DLC was only like $5 as well. So for $20, you probably get the whole deluxe version, and it might be like 6-7 hours of a good time, and that's definitely worth it. If you're looking for a VR game to play, to make the most out of your VR before the PSVR 2 comes out and makes everything obsolete, I would say Arizona Sunshine is definitely worth it. It gets to the point, has good enough graphics, good enough gameplay, to make it all worth it. You do find masks around it. I will bring that up, even so it means nothing, but you find little random masks around that you can kind of put on. I have no clue what that fucking means and why they do that. It's not like you can see yourself, but you always do kind of wear a mask. You'll find a mask, you can put it on, and you'll walk around, and you'll have no idea it's on you. Then you'll find a new mask and be like, I wonder if I could put this on. And you can, but you have to take off your old mask. You're like, I've had this on the whole fucking time. Like, what the fuck was the point? And the shit like that happens all the time. Yeah, it makes no difference. I just thought I'd bring it up because I saw the mask. But yeah. I hope that if you're thinking about this game and you're wondering if you should buy it and $15 is worth it, I think it is. I hope that you play it and you try it because of me. You leave a comment, tell me if you liked it. And that's it. Later, guys.